Welcome to the Top 200 podcast with your host, Herschel.
What's up, everyone? Glad everyone can make it. Herschel Fraud, Top 200, and this is the Monday morning meeting. I was going to try and hold it off because it's raining, but I guess we'll just do it in rain. And just excuse all the noise and thunder and all that kind of stuff too. But we're just going to go through some of these, games, man, because like some of these games have been pretty important, because I think it's coming up to about the time in the year when it's like when players start to get a bit too comfortable. Some players are still stuck in that preseason mode. There's some players that don't switch on as early as they should, and so there's things like that where I think that teams are going to start making mistakes. And so, like, I kind of give it up to the people that are to the players early on, and you can kind of see it too in some of in the ways that some people play, and some guys play. Is that some guys that you're familiar with and how they play seem a bit off, and sometimes that's based on them still not really embracing that the season started. They may rah and all that kind of stuff in the in the pre-game to, say that they're ready and all that kind of stuff, but then you can just kind of tell that their rhythm is a bit off, their adjustments are not the same, just things like that. And so these kind of weeks, and I'm saying within like in the next 2 weeks, you'll see players adjust a little bit more. And figure out that and then finally figure out that they're in the season. So this is to me is like some of the most interesting times, and because you got the Queen's birthday weekend coming up, and then when the term finishes, then you've got rep selections, and guys are thinking about that as well, which is understanding, because guys have got their goals set, and guys have got goals to make the under 18 region team, especially if you're year 12 and 13. It's kind of that time to sort of think about it, because you want to make a statement for yourself, and being in the last year or in the second to last year, you kind of just want to make put your stamp on it for your future. And so it is really an interesting kind of time right now to be around that kind of stuff, to be around the players and the teams and watching them and how they play right now. But we are coming into the fifth week of rankings, and I mean fifth week because we're going off the Miles Toyota championship, the one in Christchurch, who starts their competition first. So that's why it's the fourth week. But we got games all the way from Monday, and so the first games that started was actually the Auckland comp, but the girls first 15 comp, and I'm pretty interested in this too, because a couple of weeks back, Hamilton girls, their main team, played Manurewa and won by a little bit. It wasn't by a lot. I think it was something like 29-10 or something like that, or 32-10 or 32-12, sort of margins like that. And Manurewa played Auckland girls on Monday, which I think was probably one of the bigger games, because I see Auckland girls, who's been building a team for a while. I've seen Auckland girls, Manurewa, Mags, of course, and Wesley, probably the main girls team that I know of. Aotearoa and Southern Cross, I'm not too sure about. And then I know that Howick don't actually play 15s, or they haven't in the past played 15s, which I'm not too sure why. Probably because they got netball. But, those girls, when it comes to sevens, they all switch on. But, Auckland girls beat Manurewa 24-22, which was a really good score and a really close one. And so, in terms of competition, I think that would probably be one of the top games as well. And tomorrow it's going to be pretty interesting to see. Earlier, I think late today, they have games late today. And so, we'll see what happens, because I know they're still going through grading games. I think they have 2 weeks of grading games. I'm not too sure about it, but I got to check up. But Auckland girls competition is going to be a good one, and I think the more that they play 15s, that level is going to go up again. And I love girls rugby, and the stage and the quickness in which they're bringing out such a lot of good quality players, not just some, but a lot of good quality players. And so that's probably one to watch out for. They had games on Monday. Then on Tuesday, Shirley boys went up to Blenheim to play Marlborough boys, and they came away with their win, which is looking pretty good for Shirley boys right now. Marlborough's got a good team. They've got a lot of returning players, and it seems to me that they just haven't really... It feels like they haven't really put it together properly. And because they had a good preseason and they were looking great, and then it's just they're just flat, I think. They're not doing bad and they're not doing good, but they're just kind of flat, like in the middle kind of thing. And so it's gonna be interesting to see how the rest of the season goes for them and the way that they travel. And they've got to for them to sort of save their season, and this is Marlborough boys, for them to sort of save their season, they're going to have to really target some big scalps and try and knock off 2 or 3 of those big scalps and then win the ones that they should. This one against Shirley was maybe... I guess the score itself from 29-22 is probably a score that you could either switch around, because I think both of those teams are both evenly matched up, and so that's not a shocking score, and it's not really shocking who got the win and who lost, because it could have easily been the other way around. I went to the Rotorua boys and St. John's on Wednesday, which was a really, really good game to watch, and it really was competitive back and forth within that first, within that first 12, I would say 15 minutes. No, actually, I'll say 20 minutes. For 20 minutes, it was really back and forth, and no one was really... both teams were scoring one after the other, and then it wasn't until coming towards the end of the first half, that's when Rotorua boys really sort of lit it up and pushed the pressure a lot more and pushed the pace. Rucks became quicker, the backs were running so good. Te Hamana was getting his tries, Jericho was getting his runs, Toma was coming in, John Horua was running, just those straight lines that he does at second five, and it was just the way that Rotorua boys play. They kind of just turned it on, and it just started to click for them, and so that score ended up being 53-17. Rotorua boys also had a yellow card to their captain, and which was, I don't know, I didn't really agree with it. I didn't really see it. as bad as the refs saw it, but I mean, it's just one of those things, I guess. The Napier boys against Scots College, Napier winning 30-15. And I know Scots College were supposed to play Hastings boys the week before that, but because of injuries and, you know, private schools, and I say this all the time, and it's just constant reminder to people, and people got to understand that because I say these things all the time, I say it because audiences are always new, because pretty much your son or your brother or your cousin or your mate finishes school, and then other year 11s come through, or other year 12s or other year 10s come through, and then they go, oh, what's this website? And then they find out this, and then I kind of have to re-explain everything again. But I've said this before, and I'll obviously keep saying it again, private schools may have all the money, but they don't have the depth. And when private schools get injuries, their injuries are pretty bad, and they don't really have a lot of guys to back that up. So Scots didn't play the Hastings game the week before, obviously because they were having injury problems, and obviously you can't go too long without having a game. You can't go too long without having a game. So I guess they had to play this Napier boys one, and I think they came away injury free. I think they had a couple of niggles, but I don't know if they were serious injuries. But you know, coming away with that 30-15 loss is a big deal, and it is something that is going to affect the level of Wellington schools and the talent. And I think, and you know, being realistic about this, and I'm not taking a shot at Wellington schools or talent in any way, but we all have to admit that the talent is coming from the Hawke's Bay and from Manawatu in terms of guys that get selected for, you know, to sort of move on. Most of the talents are coming from those areas. Whanganui Collegiate had two guys coming out of New Zealand secondary schools, and one came here to Hamilton, which was great. I love that. And then the other one stayed in the region, moved to the Hawke's Bay, and then made under 20s New Zealand straight out of, and he could have come back to school for one more year. That's how good he was. And so and then you always get those boys from Gisborne that always show up as well. But if you're talking about a lot of the talent that comes out of it, you've got to credit Napier boys and Hastings boys, and then Palmy and Fielding, and then Whanganui Collegiate as well. And then you've got to have a look at Gisborne boys, who also do bring out that one or two that come through. But Wellington haven't, with the amount of people, provided what you think they would provide. I'm not saying they don't provide anybody. I'm just saying what you think they would provide. And what they have in the past, which is pretty sad, because they have always been sort of the main place for the talent to grow, and they've never had to really break out that much into Hawke's Bay and Manawatu to I guess make up their squad. But now with Hastings boys, you know, really picking up the level of talent that they've had, and then Napier boys also, you know, being so consistent in what they do, and then you still got Palmy and Fielding, and with the way that they've had theirs, it's just like, yeah, those are the places that you're kind of going to now. And to me, that reflection of outside schools playing Wellington schools have kind of leaned one way, and that's towards the outside schools of the Hurricanes region. And it shows when they have these cross games as well, from Super 8 teams to I guess the Wellington teams and Trans-Tasman teams of what they call them. And so, to me, that's just something that I've been kind of I've been thinking about as well. Is that how much players are Wellington really providing to that Hurricanes age group that really sort of kick on after that? For me, it's like, well, I'll be relying on a lot more teams outside rather than inside Wellington. They got a bunch of people too. And I mean, like, I guess it is. It's the fall of Wellington College as well is probably another one that is just starting to get back up, and they had a really massive win over St. Pat's Town on Wednesday, which was also another really good game. And to me, Wellington won that game based on their defense. That's really what it was their defense. And then all their defense just turned into those opportunities to get points and score points and keep consistently attacking. And I actually don't think that they were doing anything that flash, Wellington, in terms of trying to gain points. I think that they muscled up front to, to a forward pack that most people would think that would dominate them because St. Pat's Town have who they have in Lawaki and who's the other prop's name? He's slipping my mind. And then they have Collins as well. And guys like that, you would think that Town would be the controlling one. But then really Wellington came through and just went pretty much hit for hit and run for run, really going at St. Pat's Town. And Wellington, to me, won that battle based on the length of time they did it. They didn't back off. They kept that same intensity the whole way through. And in the end, St. Pat's Town, to me, was the one that backed off in the forward pack. And Wellington just kept coming. And all those opportunities that they had, and like if you look at the way that they scored their points, not a lot of it was based on any kind of real movements or any kind of real gaining, building up of phases and momentum and stuff like that. A lot of that they just pressured on defense, picked up on the mistakes of Town, and then they just started just running simple lines, and then they'll score out on the edge and things like that, and get these penalties, kick them over, things like that, and which I thought was like pretty cool. I like the way that Wellington played it, but to me that was it. To me, it was just their defense, and if I was a Wellington comp, I would be a bit wary of what Wellington College can do. And I mean, I saw it against New Plymouth against Napier Boys in the preseason, and the size of the players that they had, the skill set of the players that they have, the rangy guys. Like, I like the loose trio that they have with Ashton in there, with Ashton being in that that rotation, and I think he's better at 6 than he would be at 8 or anything like that. I do like that Jacob is out there, with Ponga is out there too, and making sure that when they do lead up, they lead up as one. Isaiah was the other one that was being put in centre rather than on the wing, and he did great based on the way that he got his turnovers. I think he got 3 turnovers in the game and just ran simple lines and just kept the pressure on. And I think that's all they kind of needed to do. It wasn't a flash sort of gameplay or anything like that. They just did what they needed to do, and it was cool to see the way that they did it. It really was cool the way seeing them do it the way that they did, and it was based all on defense. And so Scots have got to watch out. Silverstream's got to watch out too, because this might be a year that Wellington can reclaim, I guess, what all the old boys have been asking them to do is win that comp again and be competitive and beat the teams they're supposed to beat, and then really push the bigger teams like they did against Town. And so if you're a Cole fan, then yeah, you got to be pretty excited with winning that game and getting one of those top guys out of there. And now they've just, to be honest, they just got 2 to go. 2 to go, and I kind of think Silverstream is the harder one for them. I think that they have a chance against Scots, but I think Silverstream will be the harder one for Wellington College, not Scots. And they're going to have to give more. They're going to have to give more of what they did in that same game. Maybe adjust a few things because of the players that they have to cater to on that Silverstream side. But yeah, I don't think they're far off the game plan that they need to be on to sort of win those other games. Also on Wednesday was Waikato girls competition. Their one. Also the grading games for Canterbury. So Potato College, they won they won by default over Matamata. Sacred Heart Girls College, they beat Tokoroa High School 34-5. The Hamilton Girls Development beat the Te Aomuru Girls College Development 39-20. The Cambridge High School Development beat Rotorua High School 50-0. Cambridge is another area too that is bringing up really good rugby players and solid rugby players. And so Cambridge, and like if you've watched them in sevens, and like I know Cambridge because I'm from Hamilton, and you know I go there a lot, and like there's this barbecue place down there that in Cambridge too that I go to all the time, and I go and see them play. I see them train sometimes, and I go to St. Peter's and go to Cambridge High School sometimes, and just sort of stand around and watch. And judging from the players that they've brought up through the last few years in Condors and that, Cambridge has a lot of good girls coming out of their school and out of their program, and they're probably not going to be too far off Hamilton girls. And then just sheer numbers is probably going to be the other thing too that they'll probably have to, that is going to be a problem. It's just because Hamilton girls is Hamilton girls. They got a bunch of girls they can choose from, and Hamilton girls are so big into rugby now in sevens that there's not going to be a year where they're not strong, and they're pretty much just mirroring what Hamilton boys are doing too, and kind of getting ahead of everyone. And I think at some point girls rugby is going to be what boys rugby is as well, and they've already started to put those processes into place where that once it does hit that big time, and they're the same as what boys first 15 rugby is, Hamilton girls is already going to be far ahead. And so when it comes to ranking, it's pretty much going to be Hamilton boys and Hamilton girls in the top 5 almost every single year, and top 10 every year for sure, if other schools don't catch up. But one thing I do like is at Canterbury, and this is where we go to Canterbury, where they've also started really picking up the girls' game, and a lot of girls are playing netball now, or playing rugby now, and they do have a lot of teams. And it's cool too because I get to learn what new schools there are. So they got that Villa Maria College who beat Rangiora High School 67-15. I don't know what Forward Foundation is. I don't know what that is. Let me know. I haven't Googled it or anything like that, but that's just what the team is called. But they lost to Christchurch Girls 2nd 15, 58-20. The Christchurch Girls team beat is it Marianne Wildcats? I don't know what that means either. I don't know if that sounds like a school. But Christchurch Girls won 58-0. Hornby High School, I think they were playing, the Lincoln Ralston College combined lost to Avonside Girls 71-5. I think Avonside is the other good school that's out there, along with Christchurch Girls, and I think there was another one. I don't think it was Burnside. I can't remember. but like as I'm learning into a bit more about girls first 15, I'm starting to really enjoy and looking forward to their scores as it comes in as well. Cullinane High School is the other one too. I don't even know if I'm saying that school right, but that's what I read. I'm terrible at reading and writing, but that's what I read as Cullinane College. They've been putting up a lot of really good content and a lot of really good highlights, and so I like to share them on my Facebook page as well, because they're putting up some big scores, and being around Manukura as well as Fielding and close to them, those three schools are just building around each other and just getting stronger and stronger and stronger. They're the other ones that I like as well. And so, and like you could get a really good, I think that New Zealand's at a point where you can get a really good, maybe top 15 teams together to have like a nationals, a top 16 to have a nationals. If we stretch it out to 20, I think that it's going to be too imbalanced. But if you get maybe 16 or 18 or something like that, you could have a really good national tournament, which I think can be done. Because Sacred Heart Girls College, not just here in Hamilton, but also the other one in New Plymouth is also a really good one too. Along with New Plymouth Girls, Gisborne Girls is also really is getting there and getting better. Rotorua Girls is also the same, getting there and getting better. Along with the likes of Mags and Howard, Auckland Girls. The other one, Long Bay College, is also getting a rugby program kind of thing together. Westlake Girls is also the same, and so and like these are just the teams up here, and then of course you got St. Mary's, who are also like a powerhouse as well. But yeah, they need to start doing something about that. They need to start doing something about that and really trying to organize something that is something that's going to be able to cater for the girls and be able to advance the game for the girls and bring a lot of good talented girls out. The Wharapama Cup is already established. They need girls to start getting into these better rep teams, just like I said, and I said this at the beginning of the year. If you need the help, get me on board and I'll help. I'll do exactly the same thing. I'll highlight all the talent if you want me to come on board and ask me to help, and I'll do it. Things like that. I do my best, what I can with, the way that it's done. Obviously, it's not as established as boys first 15, and I've played a big role in terms of putting that out there to everybody that's out there, and cutting down all this scouting work that used to be done, where it was just word of mouth of, I've got a mate and his cousin coaches a team and there's a boy who's pretty mean, and we'll get him in there, and then you find out that he's not even as good, but you just took the word of somebody else. Whereas for me, I go out there and I make sure that I send some kind of clips, take some kind of photos, do some kind of reports, do some kind of homework. I'm not just asking a mate who's a mate of a mate. It's like not of that at all. And then I give you 3 years of data and content of one player that I think is coming through from year 11 or from year 10 all the way through to year 13. And so you can see the development of these players just through what I'm telling you and what I'm saying and what I'm showing. And then you've got all these guys, all these teams that are getting filmed, who are filming their games now. And you got all these live streaming Sky Sports and Sideline Live app, or Sideline Live, whatever they've changed it to, but even them as well, be showing a lot of games and a lot of content on guys. So now you don't have to do that, but now we've got the girls rugby, and they need to do the same thing as well, as where I wouldn't mind helping out to do that. But come to me, come and ask me. Let's sit down and work something out, and then we can get going, because I'm just like anybody else. I love the black jersey, and I want our boys and our girls to dominate in rugby. That's what it is. Whenever we take the field, whether boys or girls, 7s or 15s or whatever, it's like, I want our team to win. So I wouldn't mind helping from this level. But yeah, on Friday, we'll go back to games. On Friday, Howick beat Pakuranga 34-17. Howick is the team, and Howick is one of these teams as well that I think if they had a chance to play into the 1A, I think they would have made a good push. Howick and Botany are probably two of the teams that I really like. In terms of that 1B, yeah, Botany, because even like Botany, Otahu, McLean's look really good as well. Even St. Paul's look alright, and I don't know if that's their league team in there, but they always have good athletes. That's what it is. They always have good athletes, but Howick, I'm thinking, is kind of the lead right now in that 1B, and maybe should get a lot more exposure over that kind of thing. Maybe I'll go see them soon. Maybe I'll come see them soon. Yeah, as one of the 1B games that I go and see. But getting on to Saturday, the number one team in the country, Kelston Boys, beat Mags 24-13, which is what I would have predicted as well. And I'm so sorry, I've got to get more diligent on doing that, putting out my predictions so that you can hold me accountable. I would have picked Kelston, but I wouldn't have picked that score. I thought Kelston would have put a little bit more on Mags. To me, 31-30, 13 would have been more of the scoreline. But Mags have, with that big turnaround from that big upset in the first round against Sacred Heart, to coming into this game, is a great score. And if I was Mags, I would still be positive. If I was Mags, I would still be proud of what I did against a team like Kelston Boys, and I'll take that same energy and momentum and stuff like that they have right now and take it into your next game next week. And Mags might be the surprise top 4 team if they keep this going. And they do need a couple of scalps that they need to win. I think they've got St. Kitts this coming week, which would be a good one for them to get if they want to stay in touch with that top 4 and start blowing out some of these teams. And so Mags will have to probably concentrate a lot more on that. Maybe try and go after, because I don't think that they're better than the Kings and St. Peter's. I think they can match St. Kitts, and I think that's going to be a really close game next week. I think, it's kind of hard with Kings right now. Maybe. I think they have a better chance beating Kings than they have a better chance beating St. Peter's. Because I think St. Peter's wins that game. St. Peter's won 23-19 against Sacred Heart this past weekend too. Which I guess more jumps on my side in terms of what kind of team St. Peter's is and what they can do, because I'm seeing that as the final now, is Kelston Boys and St. Peter's is what I think the final is going to be. And I think they match up well against Kelston Boys too. But Kelston Boys have also got to they've also got to recognise the position that they're in, and that they're going to get targeted every single week, and they're going to get, and every week that they play, they're going to get the best of those teams every single week. They're now the targeted team in the 1A. They're the most talked about team pretty much in the country, and being the number one team in the country is the biggest target on their back. And I know the guys at Hamilton Boys would want to target them too. They'll be like, well, I know, and I have no doubt that Hamilton Boys would play them next week and go, yeah, we'll take them. And I think that every week that Kelston plays is going to be pretty much the intensity of a final every single game. And so Kelston boys have to maintain that intensity to win, and they can't relax at any point in those games, because Auckland's just too hard for you to relax, and you could lose in a 6-minute span of being relaxed, where 2 tries can be scored against you so quickly in such a talented area, such a talented competition. And that's going to be Kelston's problem to me, as that they seeing them try and maintain the high level of intensity that they need to bring every single game. And the moment that they don't bring it is the moment that they get their first loss. And I don't... they shouldn't lose, but I can see them losing a game. I can see them losing a game, still being the best team in the country to me, but I can see them losing a game, but they shouldn't. Obviously, if they get injuries to main players and things like that, that's understandable, but they just shouldn't lose a game if they have a full team. Christchurch boys coming back, and I think it was 7-0 at halftime against Nelson College. Came back and pretty much drew it up to 14-all or 12-all. And I wish that game was filmed, because I would be really keen to watch that game as well and see what happened. And Christchurch boys, as the lack of superstars that they usually have, that they don't have this year, they're pretty much a pretty all-round team. James White to me is their main guy, and one of I think the best game managers in New Zealand in terms of being at first 5, and if you just want to game manage and play through it, like, he's the guy to do that. I think it'll be AJ Faleafaga, then probably him in terms of managing a game. But yeah, I think Christchurch has to be a team that you have to blow out. You can't leave anything, any game too close, or I say, they'll really push you to the edge. But obviously that ranking is going to change, because having a draw even against a good team like Christchurch boys, it still has to have some kind of effect on your ranking. How much, I don't know, and I'll think about that. I think about that today and see how it sort of affects it, but they won't drop a lot. They'll still be in contention. They'll still be top 10. They won't fall that much. St. Paul's beating Francis Douglas 40-3 was a good game. Kings winning 73-12 against Dilworth. Dilworth actually surprisingly good. Like, I didn't mind the team that they had and the games that and the game that they brought to King's College, and scoring 12 points is pretty good. Like, I don't fault that at all. I think that's great, and they do have some size in a solid 4-pack that I think they can really build around and do something with. They just need to sort of find those places where they can get through and punch through into some of these teams. St. Peter's Cambridge won 17-10 down in Masterton, where they went down to Rathkill College. Resting some players, and it's just like I was explaining before, when you're private schools and you don't want to get too many injuries, because that can rock your team a little bit. And so St. Peter's had to sort of take that kind of risk, knowing that, like, things may not turn out right, or not go the way that they thought it might go, and they were lucky to come away with that win. I was hearing a lot of good stuff about Will Cole, really getting at I'm not getting at them, but he really, I guess, directing his team around for Rathkill and really did put a lot of pressure onto that St. Peter's side. St. Kennigan's beat Auckland Grammar 22-15. Scots beat Mana College 54-21. St. Bede's beat St. Andrews 35-8. And sorry, like I put it there the other way around on the website, but it was St. Bede's beating them St. Andrews 35-8. So that's going to be a really big drop for St. Andrews in terms of rankings. I don't know how much they're going to fall, but it is going to affect them quite a bit because they were ranked so closely together. And 35-8 is a big drop off. That's not just we let it slip at the end. 35-8 is not a slip at the end kind of game. Like, like you like 12 all, and there's like maybe 11 minutes left, and then they score like, they take it out to like 10 to 14 points, 2 tries right at the end where things get hard. You just can't. Like, those things are understandable. 35-8 is just not one of those kind of things. So something's going to happen with St. Andrews. I don't have any footage of the game. I wish I did. I've just seen little clips here and there, but nothing to really sort of grasp onto and sort of find any kind of structural damage and, making sure that they're playing as they would as usual. But that's just a really bad scoreline too, just 35-8. Palmy being Gizzy 40-10, which was a good game to watch. Gisborne's getting better. They've showed a lot of flash, here and there with the squad that they have, which is a young squad, experienced but still young. And they don't have a lot missing. That's the other thing that I think, is that they're getting it together, and there's just like a bit of bits and pieces that they need to put together, and it's not far off. Palmerston's got no real superstars. Curtis and Leo. Moore is probably another one, like those kind of guys, and Joe. Their captain is probably the ones that I'd probably be looking at in terms of guys who are leaderships around that team, and probably the go-to guys as well. But to me, they're a team. They're a really, really good team, and sort of spread out talent, and everyone picks up their weight and plays their roles, and they really get, really good results out of what they have. And then even with that loss last week against Silverstream, they seem to still maintain what they do as a team, and sort of just lift the standard and lift the energy more than anything else, in changing the way that they do things. But yeah, that was a good one to watch. Silverstream beating Aotea, which was a pretty good cup. Pretty good Willamette Cup challenge, I guess what it is. And Aotea, managing to get 12 points is really good against a team like Silverstream, who's running really well, who's got one of the probably most solid forward packs with a lot of size in it as well, which is something I really like about Silverstream and the way that they're playing. And so they look like they're building up to something, and so I kind of think that Silverstream might be the harder team within that competition to be the one to beat. I think that they might be the one to beat. Southland won 24-9 against Dunstan High School, which is a real big surprise. I expected Southland to really blow out Dunstan, and I mean, I know I don't have any footage, but that's not a good scoreline. Because I actually think that Southland boys second 15 can do the same, and probably by a little bit more over Dunstan High School. And so And Dunstan High School is just a small high school. It's not a big high school at all, but they punch way above their weight in terms of rugby over the last, ever since I've been doing it. Dunstan's always have some really good, really mean players that have come out of there for such a small place, and they're probably one of the schools actually that I think are one of those that consistently bring out good solid players that punch above their weight, and they can take it to bigger schools. And they're the team that is just like, if you don't play to your standard of what you should be playing, then they will get a scalp. They'll get a win over you, like things like that. And so that Dunstan's just one of those kind of teams, The other one that I'm looking at is Timaru Boys over Christ, which was a really good, real sloppy game. There wasn't that much so it's Timaru, that sloppy game that they had against Christ College. It's one of those games that it's so muddy and it's so the ball just gets so slippery, you can't really get anything going. And it's pretty much a mistakes kind of game. Like, the less mistakes that you make, the more you contain the ball, gives you more opportunity to really just gain momentum. And to me, it's all about gaining momentum in those kind of games where the field is just too slippery, it's too much rain, the ball just doesn't stick to anything. It's like things like that. To me, it's like the more you just gain possession, gain momentum, you're going to win that game. And the way that Timaru played is that, and they actually kicked it to win. Tane kicked it to win 21-19 over Christ. But Christ also played really, really good too. I really liked what they were... the way that they played, and they spread the ball quite a lot for a wet day. Their midfielders played really solid. They second five and centre. I don't have their roster, so I don't know who was playing there, and it's kind of hard to see their faces and stuff. But Christ College is just not really one to put out a roster. Just so strange, but it was just hard to see who it was. But their midfield played really, really good, along with their hooker as well. Who, their front row is always really solid as well. Maybe probably, I would say that Christ's front row maybe second or third, with Timaru and Nelson College. In terms of front rows, they're really, really good. With Hendricks, Jacks, and Jack. I can't remember the other kid's name, who's in the front row as well. But they play really good, because Beat Fisher as well. Like, he was playing really good. Fletcher's the other kid, I think it is, for Timaru Boys. But that was a good battle up front. Bede Fisher played really, really good yesterday, on Saturday, and I think, he's got to be one of the better props, I think, in that region right now. But it was just one of those kind of games. The Otago game in Kings, pretty much what you expected. I had them ranked 23rd and 24th. Otago being ranked 19th, being ranked 23rd, and Kings High School 24th, and ending in 19-7. And like, it was good. It was good back and forth. I thought it was a good back and forth, and so. I don't think, and the good thing about those two teams is that it's not the end. It's they will meet up again, and I think the second time round is going to be time that you have to really worry about it. It's like that's going to be the full teams, and the team that has sort of the teams that have sort of that you really want in those moments. And the second game is the one that I think will be the more important one to watch. Westlake boys are still on their winning streak, 27-8 over Whangarei boys. Massey beat Rangitoto 19-14. Manurewa lost in an upset against Takapuna Grammar School 29-15. Orewa beat Rosmini 18-17. Orewa is looking really good this year as well, so I think that might be one of those surprise teams. But Takapuna and Orewa are really putting out teams that I wasn't really expecting to do that much this year. Not that I didn't think that they were going to be stink or anything like that, but they're actually pulling out some really good games and some real quality rugby. So it's cool to watch them do that kind of stuff. Aurere lost to De La Salle 43-0. Tangaroa College beat Liston College in the 1A 71-0. Ongihanga got a win against Southern Cross campus, which I thought Southern Cross would have won that one. St. Paul's beat Avondale 25-10. Botany beat Otahu 15-10, which would have been a really good game. If there's any footage of that, I'd really love to see that game as well. One Tree Hill beating Mount Ruskell Grammar School 10-5. Maclean's College beating Waitakere College 46-10. Edgewater in the 1C beat Tamaki College. Edgewater lost to Tamaki College 27-12. In the counties, Tuakau won 17-0 over Papakura High School combined. Rosehill won 26-15 over Waiuku. I thought Rosehill would get a little bit more than that over Waiuku. Pukekohe second 15 beats Onefero 31-7, and then Pukekohe High School first 15 won 74-0 over Wesley College third 15. Pukekohe needs harder games. I think they probably should have been playing. They probably should have played in the North Harbour team competition. That would have been really good for them, because I think they match up really well with Massey and with Orewa and Takapuna and even Manurewa. I think that they're at that same level as well. So Pukekohe just needs a lot more tougher games for them to to show what they can do. Show what they can do really. In the CNI competition, Whanganui Collegiate beat Wesley 18-5. Lindisfarne College upset over Fielding High School 34-20. I knew the game was going to be close. I would have put probably the scores the other way around, but it's not a total complete surprise that Lindisfarne College won, because they've been playing so good this year, especially in the preseason as well. They're putting up some really good scores and pushing some really big teams like Napier boys, and this isn't really that much of a surprise. They're really that good. Also, I went to the St. John's matchup, and was able to watch that. I thought St. John's Hastings was going to be a bit more competitive, and they just lost it early. They stayed. It's like they stayed for as long as they could, and then it just broke loose, and they just couldn't get it back. And St. John's Hamilton just went on a big run, winning 57-12. But St. John's Hastings got a good team. I mean, I really like their backline. Their backline to me is really, really good. Obviously with Brad. Then you got Kitty and the other kid, Murray kid. and I can't remember. There's too many names, but that midfield is got to be is really, really good, and they just need to work something out. They just need to get something going. Waikato competition, Matamata College winning 73-5 over St. Peter's School second 15. Cambridge High School won 19-14 over Hamilton Boys Gold. Tikawiti High School won 43-12 over Fraser. Tokoroa High School lost 12-33 to Te Awamutu College. Morrinsville College lost to Hamilton Boys High School Blue 41-0. Now, they have colours, and so I don't know what standard of Hamilton Boys teams these are, but Hamilton Boys have a lot of teams and a lot of good players. Kaukauroa beat Fairfield College 32-22, and Pataruru College beat Taumaranui High School 41-17. And those country schools, like those, Pataruru and Taumaranui and all that kind of stuff, they always have a lot of tough players, but then they've always got these two guys that really should be playing higher competition. And you just have to find them. And they're always a lot of country schools always have a lot of those players, and they just need to be found. I found a few this year, and if I was them, I would move them. If I was them, I found some year 11s and some year 12s that would go great in other big schools, and that would probably start in other schools that are bigger than theirs, and they just need the help. They just need the help getting out there. I know a lot of you guys don't like recruiting, but it's just if I recruited them to your school, you'll be fine with it, right? Thames Valley, Paeroa College beat Hauraki Plains 10-12, and Paeroa College is the leading one in that competition. I'd like to see them play someone like Matamata, Te Awamutu, schools like that. Mercury Bay Area School beat Whangamatai Area Schools 33-12. Rotorua Boys, and this is Bay of Plenty now. So Rotorua Boys beat Trident 34. Rotorua Boys second 15 beat Trident 34-5. Taumata beat Rotorua Boys Colts 31-24. Western Heights High School beat John Paul College 10-0, and Tauranga Boys second 15 beat Tupua Nuiatea College 21-14. In the Sam Cane Cup, this is still in the Bay of Plenty, and this is the second division in the Bay of Plenty. Tarawera High School beat Papamoa College 27-12, and Otamotai College beat Mount Maunganui College 33-17. And maybe they should move those up. I feel like there's not that big of a gap between the second and third division. Between the first and second division, I don't know. Doesn't feel like it. Maybe is if they put them head to head. Maybe a pretty big difference. Like another one of those schools, Hawera High School, I wish played bigger, better schools. They won 33-10 over Francis Douglas second 15, and Opunaki High School beat Inglewood High School 26-12. In the Wellington Cup now, we're going down to Wellington Cup. St. Bernard's beat Hibs 12-19, which I heard was a really good game. Any footage, please send it along. Rongotai beat Porirua College 50-7 in the Murray Jensen Cup, which is sort of the second division in Wellington. Upper Hutt beat Wellington College second 15 29-5. Silverstream, second 15, beat Wairarapa College 19-12. Kapiti College beats St. Pat's Town, second 15, 22-15. Paraparaumu College beat Nainai College 33-27. And they still haven't got a score back from that Tawa Bishop Via game either. Wainui Amada beat Scott second 15, 33-29. Hutt Valley High School, they beat St. Bernard second 15, 39-19. And then Taita College beat Newlands College 83-0. And Taita College probably should be up in that second division as well. That Miles Toyota Championship down in Christchurch, that's St. Thomas, who are leading the competition, beat Waimea combined 26-7. The Mid-Canterbury game against Aoraki combined 12-7. Mid-Canterbury won 12-7. And Selwyn Schools, which is the Lincoln combined, they beat Rangiora High School 23-10. Which is somewhat an upset, but Rangiora College they've got a lot to do. They've got a lot to do and to fix up. Down in Otago now, St. Kevin's College, they lost to John McGlashan 34-0, and John McGlashan's trying to get back to trying to get back to that higher level of winning like they used to. And probably getting ready for the bigger games as well. But that's a really good score against someone like St. Kevin's, who's not bad at all. Waitaki Boys High School beat Otago combined 15-14, which I thought Waitaki should put on a bit more than that against Otago combined. South Otago High School, they beat Otago Boys second 15, 26-3, which I wouldn't have picked. I wouldn't have picked that. I would have picked Otago Boys to win that one. And Mount Aspiring beating Wakatipu High School 29-10. And then down in Southland, in their first 15 under 18 Cup, Central Southlands College beat James Hargis College 51-0. Menzies College beat Southland Boys third 15, 31-28, and then the Southland Boys second 15 beat Verdun College 19-17. And so that's all the scores that we have from Saturday's games. And again, all the rankings are going to change. Again, everything's going to be switched up. Up this coming week, I'll be putting out the new Year 12 rankings is going to go up. The new Top 200 rankings is going to go up. Obviously, the new rankings for schools is going to go up as well. From 100, the whole top 100 is going to change. Also, I'll bring out my early region teams for the Blues, Chiefs, Hurricanes, Crusaders and Highlanders. I'll bring out my early under 18 team picks for that. I'll also put out my year 12 team, who's just the best year 12 team I would put together, as well as the best year 11 team I'll put together as well as some write-ups from for the games coming up this week, and also I'll put up some other small clips for people that have short attention spans, and just some little quick clips for everybody. It's just stuff that I'm thinking about. But that's High School Top 200. Herschel Fruin. Peace.